love that. That's awesome. That's the favorite part. Just
especially when you do it, like really do it.
Right.
And you know you're about to taste some beer.
Yes.
That's great.
This is Grabbing the Brisket podcast. Thank you for joining in, tuning in, listening on your way home, or maybe you're just sitting in your office doing you're just killing it at work, or maybe you're at the gym, just like no.
If you're in the gym listening to us, then you're obviously not working out.
Push it.
Yeah.
Push it.
You're going backwards if
you got this.
You ever see like there's like an old person who's like walking like 0.2 miles per hour? They're listening to Grab the Brisket.
Yeah, right. Yeah. One arm's breaking the other one because I always used to do the 12-ounce curls, right? That's the person. That's our demographic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. No, this is, dude. It's another
Grabbing the Brisket interview coming up here shortly. Right. We have Abbey Road.
Abbey Road.
I love the name.
Yeah. With Coupland Dance Hall
/ B&B.
They're into everything.
Barbecue.
Yeah,
jerky.
She got the jerky. Yeah.
They're into everything. So I am super eager to get her on and go through this. James, you have something to say? I'm sorry. I feel like you're chomping.
I'm actually like intrigued, like the musicians that come through there. Like, who's your favorite, or is there one? You know what I mean, or something like that. You know, that's something I'd be interested to know. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I mean between the sauce, I mean, so kind of a backstory, like in. I'm not saying we're a big deal or we're popular. I think maybe John's not here right now. John is like just very driven, and he's booked us like 2 years out with people in the barbecue industry, or maybe possibly the beer industry and stuff like that. So Abby with the Coupland Dance Hall was nice enough to send us some barbecue sauces and jerky for us to try. So, and we've tried the jerky and the sauces. Mm-hmm. The jerky's good.
Jerky's good. The sauce is good.
Sauce is good.
The original was my favorite. The spicy was okay. Just I don't know. It was a good sauce.
Right.
But the original, I really like the sauce.
Yeah, we'll have to get a little bit bigger bottles of it. I mean, we
can order some.
Got little sample sizes, and we just basically tried it. So we really didn't put it on any food per se. Just kind of tasting it out of the bottle. They're all really good. I mean, you had the what was the blueberry, the berry
one,
the berry sauce, the spicy, and then the original.
Yep.
And a lot of stuff's pretty for me interesting. I mean, I think everything's kind of named after kind of a brothel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The
bordello type theme, because this is dance hall predates, or not necessarily a dance hall, but this place, like I think I read on their website, like 1904.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff has been built and added on,
it was medical. It was a doctor's office. It was a whole bunch of different things, right, throughout the years.
Now it's a one-stop shop.
Correct. So Abby purchased it, and she's the owner and operator of it now. Barbecue, steaks, dance hall. There's there's a B&B that you can stay. I mean, you can go check out live music. Book the B&B, check out live music, great food,
and stay there. Yeah, that's very cool.
Awesome. So
that is cool.
Let's hey John, dial her up. Let's go.
She's waiting on the hotline right now.
John
is on the hotline. Yeah. Let's go.
All right.
Hey guys, this is James from Grabbing the Brisket podcast. Thank you for joining in. And hey, we got an awesome guest with you. We got Abbey Road from Coupland Dance Hall it's kind of, let me ask you this, Abby. So it's a dance hall, B&B / restaurant. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, and she was very nice enough to send us some jerky and some barbecue sauces for us to try out. And right off the bat, just had to say, I mean, phenomenal stuff. Just great product as far as the sauce goes. Love I think we had the spicy, there was a berry,
and the original, right?
The original. So
the original, and the blueberry.
The blueberry, yeah.
The blueberry. Mm-hmm.
And the jerky.
And the jerky.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, these guys cannot say enough good things about the jerky. I mean, they loved it.
I must have ate like
appreciate
2
that.
pounds of jerky when we started digging into that. So
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys very much. It was a total accident, as most great things are, right? I mean, I'm in the music business. I've been booking live music for 20 years, and I never ever dreamed that jerky or barbecue or smoked ribeyes would ever be a thing in my life, but it happened. And so when you were asking me earlier today when we were trying to set this up, about barbecue fails, and I was like, raise my hand high, barbecue fails. Because I'm not like, Wayne Mueller from Louis Mueller Barbecue is 10 minutes out my front door, and so it's pretty intimidating, and snows, as the crow flies, it's 20 minutes away, and so I'm in a pretty thick area of barbecue celebrities, right? And so I come along, and I'm just, Coupland, just to say, back in the 70s, Coupland was the barbecue darling with Texas Monthly. So kind of like what you hear about Franklin's, when there's people in line for hours and hours and hours. That's how Coupland was on Sundays. And Texas Monthly just loved them. And that was back in the 70s. And it was straight away barbecue, just brisket and ribs and chicken. And those folks retired, and the dance hall wasn't even open at that time. But the restaurant, there was, some people passed away and life went on. And so it went away. And then some folks bought the building back in the early 90s and brought the restaurant back and then made the dance hall here. And so the barbecue was brought back, and we're only open Friday and Saturday nights, and so typically people eat barbecue in Texas for lunch or breakfast, right? Like, it's not generally a dinner thing,
right? And
which is kind of interesting, don't you think? Why do people not want to eat brisket at dinner? I mean, they mostly, if you're not saying, I'm going to go out to eat dinner and we're going to have brisket, it's just funny that they stand in line at 10 a.m. in the morning.
I could not agree more. I'm thinking back on it now, and I'm wondering why do I only eat barbecue like in the a.m. or in lunchtime? I don't think after 4 o'clock. I'm really.
Is it too filling? Just too much?
Maybe so. Yeah. But I do agree with you. People stand in line at Franklin's at 6 in the morning, right, or 5 in the morning to get brisket, and I'm thinking to myself,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and I can't remember the last time I've ever said, let's go have barbecue for dinner. Like, I just don't. I might have a steak for dinner, but I'm not ordering.
You're not eating barbecue.
I'm not ordering a brisket.
That's so weird. Maybe it's just too filling. Maybe it's just you don't want. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why either. I have no clue, but I found it interesting. So really, Coupland was unique in that, we pushed barbecue on Friday and Saturday nights. Not, steaks were always on our menu, but they weren't prominent and until recently. But there's kind of a flow to how the jerky came through this kind of long story. But I came into the dance hall one Friday afternoon, and my grill guy, my barbecue guy, didn't show up, and I had a full house. I was sold out that night. Somebody had to cook, and so I knew how to build a fire, and I had chicken and I had ribeyes, and of course you can't turn out a brisket in 5 minutes, right? So so we didn't have barbecue that night, and so we did steaks, and I had fillets and ribeyes and the chicken, and I was crying. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. And my staff was like coming back to me going, okay, this guy just left me a $50 tip. He said that was the best steak he ever had. And then the next lady would come back, and she's like, this guy, they own a cattle ranch down the road. There's 10 guys sitting out here, and they love their steaks. They said it's the best steaks they ever had. And I thought my staff was just trying to help make me feel better, like I thought it they just were trying to be cool, and help me along. But I got myself together and went out front to the restaurant, and all these people were just like, "Holy, what are you doing back there? Oh my God, this is great!" And I was like, "Oh, great!" Acted like I knew what the hell was going on. And
right.
It's super
that's how I
secret
got
stuff going back here.
Yeah.
into the steak business. So that was 3.5 years ago, and I really, I still did the barbecue, the brisket and the pulled pork and the ribs, all the way up until we got closed down in March because of the pandemic, because we're a bar, and so we got closed down, and well, prior to that, I had been thinking in my head, we're only open on Friday and Saturdays. The ribeyes, everybody loves our ribeyes because I smoke the ribeyes first. I smoke the loin. And then I hand cut them and sear them on the grill. And it's live fire. So it's not gas grill or anything. So
what kind of wood are you cooking with?
Mesquite.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's the way.
I use mesquite because it's hot and it's it's readily available, and it just I think that's another thing. The barbecue here at Coupland all the way back to the 70s has always been smoked with mesquite, never post oak, and so that was another thing that kind of set us apart in from Louis Mueller's and Snow's and all those great places.
That's a particular wood that a lot of people are scared to cook with. Like I know it can be overpowering if you do certain long cooks with it, but I think people are they have that just like, oh, I don't do mesquite because I have the flavor. But I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, we've had steaks here locally that have been cooked, and we've done steaks ourselves, or just open grilling with mesquite, and it always comes out really, really good.
Yeah, and you use less wood, it's a harder wood, but it burns really hot. And that's what I want on my grill when I'm searing. I just want a really quick flash because it's already pretty much cooked, from the pit. But I personally have never experienced any overpowering with the wood smoke. And maybe this is just, I have really good wood. My wood is fresh, and it's seasoned pretty well, but it's definitely not green. And maybe if I think sometimes in some of these wood piles, maybe you get I found pieces of wood I get it by 2 cords at a time, and I have found some really, like, it almost reminds me of creosote, like railroad tie kind of stuff. Like, I don't even know what it is, but it's super hard, and it doesn't burn. It just smolders. And if you get a piece of that, and it may just be really, really hard mesquite. I mean, I'm not sure where they harvest this mesquite from.
Yeah.
But I have, if I've ever gotten a piece of that sort of wood in my pit by accident, it will cause a really bad flavor. But I'm just real careful now that I know that, and it'll turn your meat like pitch black, like not a night, not that beautiful smoky crust.
Right, you'll get a little bit of that dirty smoke, a little bit, not really.
Yeah, it's black. It's really dirty black smoke, so which isn't good for your pit either.
No.
But I find it to be much milder than oak. Like a lot of the barbecue that I eat, including Wayne Mueller, and I can talk about him all day because he likes me and he lets me talk crap about him. But but he's his brisket is so moist. It's so good, and I've learned a few tricks from him as to why that is. But it's got a real pronounced smoke flavor, and I don't know that the general public or tourists, people from out of state or whatever, really wanted to just eat a piece of meat that tastes like smoke.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you on that one. I know that we tend to only, even for a brisket, we probably do like a hot and fast. We're at home cooking one, we may go 12 hours or 14 hours, depending on how many we're cooking or whatever. But generally, if it's for like competition or something, probably a 4 or 5 hour smoke bath is all we're doing on them, and then we're already going to wrap them and go. So I think you probably get a milder smoke with doing that. And for the mesquite, I definitely agree with you. I love cooking with mesquite, and I don't find that is an overpowering smoky flavor. I think it's a different smoky flavor, but definitely not overpowering or anything else. If I have my choice of wood to cook on, it would be mesquite over anything else. So, do
they use mesquite in competitions, or does it have to be post oak?
So you can use whatever you want. I think in down here, but most competitions you go to, you're probably going to see a post oak wood. If you're in, let's say, West Texas or somewhere, you might see more of the mesquite trees being used, or North Texas. But in South, you really don't have a whole lot of mesquite down here in the Houston Gulf Coast region. It doesn't really grow there here. But if you go up, a little bit west of us, you start finding mesquite at that point. But yeah, so I think it's regions. If you go to like somewhere like South Carolina or whatever, you might get more of a pecan or one of those type of flavored woods.
Hickory. Hickory's pretty popular. I have added hickory to my mesquite as well, and that's turned out really, really nice. It's almost like a little bit of a sweet flavor to the meat. It's really nice. But I don't do it all the time. But I have, and it smells really good in the restaurant, so people are hungry then.
I love that
when they smell that, like forget the candles, let's light the pit.
Right,
that makes people eat.
It's like showing a house. Like I've seen the realtors, they'll take a little butter and cinnamon and put it on a piece of tinfoil and put it in the oven, and then the house smells like a bakery or whatever. So they're like, people were more apt to I like the house.
Yeah,
I love that. If we can go back for a second, I love the fact that at the time it's probably like a little frantic and everything else, but I love the fact that you had this moment of the barbecue guy did not show up, and you're there at work with a packed house, and you're like, I've got to put something out there. I'm going to improvise. I know how to do steaks. I'm going to do this, and it's a home run. I love the fact that like you rose above that. You know what I mean? That's a really cool story, by the way.
Yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment. The buck stops with me, so I have to do something, and you can't, like, there's 200 people sitting out there trying to eat, you have to do something. And so, it was pretty crazy, but I love fire. I've always loved fire, campfires and just, burning brush in the backyard, whatever. I've always lived in the country. So, so I really do love fire, and it's kind of Zen-like for me. And I have a really beautiful Aztec grill, and I love my grill. And I have a picture on my Instagram. One day I lit the fire in the grill, and it usually takes me about 30-45 minutes to get it up to temp to where I want it, for doing steaks. And so I'll light it, and one day I walked away and I came back, and there was a white heart on my grill. That was the hot spot, and it was the shape of a heart.
Wow, very cool.
It was like my grill was telling me I love you. So, it was amazing. But anyway, so I have I love my grill. I get along with my grill really well, and it's my safe place on Friday and Saturday nights. And so now I don't have another cook. I literally do all of the, I've done away with the barbecue now, except for when we do private parties and we have large groups to feed or whatever. But straight away, my dream was I want the best ribeye anybody can find, and the best red wine to go with it, and the best luscious chocolate to finish it off. And like that is heaven. And if you're coming to Coupland to see a show, that you get this on Friday and Saturday nights. It's like one of the only places that you can do this, and it's a real treat for people, and it's done really well. And they pre-order the ribeyes with their tickets to the shows now, and so it's really great. But so the jerky, that was the funny thing. I guess about 2.5 years ago, I had smoked a loin, and I was still doing the brisket, the barbecue, the whole thing, at that time. And I had some ribeye left over, and I sliced it up really thin. And the pit, I had just turned the pit down, but it was still hovering about 200 degrees, and there was a lot of smoke still in there. And so I just put the ribeye, sliced it really thin, and I put it in the pit and walked away. And I came back a couple hours later, and so I got it out, and I put it in some baggies, and I took it out in the dance hall and handed it out to people, and that's how the jerky came about.
Very cool.
So.
Yeah, I remember trying that. I had never heard of that before. There's a jerky place between Houston and Dallas called Woody Smokehouse, and that's like
yes, I know it well.
About? Okay, yeah, that's a must stop for me every time I go there. But I don't think I've ever seen ribeye jerky there before. So when that got sent to us, I was like, "What is this?" And I think I ate like probably 3/4 of that bag by myself.
All of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do not have ribeye, but oh my God, I strive to be like they're the jerky kings of, and in every meat that they do. Like, they don't have a bad jerky.
Right.
No,
yeah.
They don't.
I love that spicy elk there. That's my go-to every time I stop by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And my thing was, so I never really made the jerky for sale. I would just, whenever I'd have extra ribeye, I'd do it, and I'd hand it out to the bands or in the dance hall or whatever. And then when the pandemic set in, we were closed down, and for the first month I was happy because I just needed to sleep. And so I was okay with being closed for the first month. And then it was 2 months, and then it was 3 months. And then I went to Mexico and, I was like, I can pace the floors in this dance hall, or I can pace the floor, walk up and down the beach. It's all the same to me, So I went to Mexico for a couple of weeks and kind of buried my head in the sand and thought, what in the world am I going to do? I don't know when this pandemic's going to be over. I can't open my dance hall. I just don't know what I'm going to do. And I came home, and the barbecue sauce that we make is really amazing. And I had this idea that we would bottle the barbecue sauce. And this girl that I knew, she used to work for Fredericksburg Farms, and they can all sorts of homemade condiments and whatever, and they put them all around in all the little touristy stops and what have you. And she was like, well, yeah, like I've got a Rolodex, I'll call people and we can put your barbecue sauce out there in these Texas stores or whatever. And she said, but they have to taste it on something. So what are they going to taste it on? I'm like, well, why not jerky? I mean, if they're going to eat barbecue sauce on barbecue, we might as well let them eat it on meat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I made the jerky to be the tasting option for the sauce in these retail locations. And the jerky sold and the barbecue sauce did not.
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, it sold, but not as fast. I mean, it wasn't a big mover as fast because, jerky is an instant thing. You eat it and, oh, my God, okay, let's have the jerky. But the barbecue sauce, you might buy a jar of it and take it home and put it in your pantry, and you don't use it for a month or whatever. And so the jerky was immediate, and it just started selling and selling and selling and selling. And it started getting a lot of publicity. And the guy in Austin with the Austin Chronicle loved it. And he just kept writing about it. And then some radio friends of mine got some of it. And they were just like, holy cow, what are you doing over there? And the next thing I know, and then I needed to find ribeye because jerky, it's not dehydrated in any way. It's straight away is smoked. So I hot smoke up until 180 degrees for about 3.5 hours. And then I just turn everything off and cold smoke it and let it for another 4 to 5 hours. And so there's no dehydration. So there's still a little bit of moisture in there, but still, even with that, you're still losing about 50% of what you start with.
Oh, wow.
So I had to figure out the cost thing. So I started calling my ribeye, distributors, suppliers, and going, look, guys, we've got to figure something out. Well, there was a guy that has a cattle farm down the road, and he came by and he said, look, I harvest all of the hanger out of my cows. And a lot of people don't do that because they don't really know what to do with it. But it's the leanest, it's the best piece of steak or meat on the cow because it's just hanging behind the throat. So there's no muscle, there's no nothing, like it's just hanging there. And so, but because there's only one per cow, obviously the ability to get that is a little bit tricky.
Limited.
And so,
is that a piece of meat that it's the butcher's like cut, or butchers? I always hear that hanger steak or that hanger piece was always that butcher's like favorite piece of meat. They would just keep it for themselves.
Yeah, well, so that's the thing, because if anybody decided they wanted it, they couldn't supply it because it there's the quantity. There's not large quantities of it, but also, yeah, people didn't really understand what to do with it. But it's better than filet mignon. And so when you go to like a really big time steakhouse, what's that? What's the name of it? A Morton Steakhouse, like in Las Vegas and New York, whatever. It's like that's like $80 a pound.
Oh wow!
Like they take it the other way and go, oh, yeah, we're gonna sell this as the high end meat,
and you're gonna pay for this.
Yes, yeah, it's kind of like the cap on the ribeye.
The spinalis, the ribeye cap,
yeah, almost the same sort of thing. Really good, really beefy flavor. So it's kind of an acquired taste, I would say. But so this guy had freezers full of this because he'd been stockpiling it, and he was like, "Why don't you try it?" I was like, "Great, yeah, let's try that." So we did. It was too moist. I couldn't get it dry enough, and it, and then it spoiled really fast, and it didn't have a good texture because it had no muscle. It had no, it was too.
Yeah.
It was not tough enough for jerky. If that makes any sense. Structure-wise, it just didn't hold up. And so we didn't continue on with the hanger. I went back to the ribeye. I found a supplier, and there's only one supplier that I know of. I do have an appointment with a couple people next week, but I found one supplier that he gives me center cuts, and it's half the price of regular ribeye, of a ribeye loin.
Oh, nice.
And it's crazy, right? Because it's a center cut.
It's working perfect for your
jerky.
Jerky.
Yes. Yeah, half the price. I get it in cases of like 90 pound, and there's like six loins in there, and so I get about 30 pounds of jerky out of it, and it works really well, and I can keep the cost in line. Like, we're selling it for $12.95 a quarter pound, and so that's pretty good. And I don't have any other labor; I do it all right now. So, it's getting to the point where I'm going to have to get somebody to help me. But it's a very tedious job. I hand cut it. It's a single source meat. A lot of jerky people, it's just like woods, like, they're using the actual piece of meat. A lot of jerky people, what you find in convenience stores and stuff like that, it's like 4 or 5 different types of meat ground up and reshaped into jerky, right?
Right.
So
not to give away too many trade secrets. So what grade of beef are you using? Is it a choice type beef, or are we doing prime beef?
Yeah, so it's choice, a ribeye, center cut. Mm-hmm.
Do you think the prime would just be too marbled? It would just be too...
Actually, no, but it would be cost prohibitive.
That is true.
I've went round and round, and it's like, because I have to buy regular lip on ribeye for what I serve, in the restaurant for dinner. And I've thought to myself, well, since I've already got that cut of meat, how could I use that for both? But there just is no way, because I have to trim that big ribeye so much. The cost just keeps doubling. Every pound, every ounce that you take off of the loin, your price just goes up. Right.
Not to mention you're losing 40% of it due to just the dehydration in the water and everything else of that meat. Mm-hmm. So, which is I can definitely see why you're charging the 12.
That's a good point. Just to say that with my jerky, that's the one drawback with the way that I do this jerky, because it does still have some moisture content, and you will find a little bit of fat still on it. And so shelf life is maybe 15 days. So it's not that also becomes a problem, for if it's not moving quick, So right now, I generally smoke twice a week, on Mondays and then on Thursdays, and that generally keeps me going. Get all shipments out, and the jerky is fresh whenever I ship it. Then so
nice, very nice. So what's coming up with the Abbey? With the Coupland dance hall is now that we're starting to see that social gathering may be a little bit freer, I guess, as of today, right? With what Governor has come up with,
right, lifting all the restrictions and the mandates and all that type of stuff.
Are you going to start maybe looking at, okay, maybe I can do like a soft opening and book an act and open back up a little bit more, or how is that working for you?
Yeah, so we reopened the 1st of February.
Nice.
And the restaurant and the dance hall and everything, but at half capacity. So Coupland holds 750 people regularly. So I could still put 300 people in here and be fine. And we've been doing shows every Friday and Saturday. The ribeye business is good in the restaurant, and things are looking up. I'm still going to operate about 75% in the dance hall, just because I've been pretty quiet about it. I'm not really the type of person to go on social media and stuff and air my grievances with the universe,
Sure. No, I don't blame you.
It never works out well.
Well, it doesn't matter. You're going to offend somebody, right? And
Correct.
Here's the thing. You have a choice. Look, either you feel like you need to stay home for whatever reason, you feel that way, that's great. Stay home. For the people who feel like it's okay to move about the world, then they come out to the dance hall. And so it's really up to the public as to, what they'll allow us to do. I mean, it's been a catch-22 for bars and restaurants ever since this mess started. And one thing I will say, as far as maybe kind of how I feel about the world, all of this, is that, the government started pointing fingers, at different businesses as to, where you could get this COVID and how you could catch it and whatever. Well, as I think we've all kind of realized, it's been very inconsistent, and, close down restaurants and bars, but yet you let 1,500 people gather outside. I don't see that really made much sense, but
I would 100% agree with you. And not only that, I'm able to say a little more probably because I'm not as PC, or I don't have to be as PC or whatever. But I think it's a shame for people that are told that they can't have their livelihood, but yet people that can work from home, it's very easy for them to work at home on a computer and whatever else. But I think when you have a restaurant where you look at thousands and I would say hundreds of thousands, if millions of people are without jobs or were laid off throughout this whole thing, that's a travesty, to be honest with you. So
yeah, I think they should have backtracked and said, okay, guys, we made a big mistake. Listen, the problem is gathering, just across the board. It's gathering. So avoid large groups, wear the masks. Let's just all have some sense.
Yeah. because they make restaurants go at limited capacity. But I'm about to fly to Denver this weekend, and I can guarantee you that plane's going to be full. They didn't make any planes go at half capacity or anything like that. So how does that make sense? That's going to be the worst case scenario, trapped in a small box with a whole bunch of people.
Looking at some of the people y'all have booked, I know you've been doing this a long time and booking. Right off the bat, there was 2 people when I went to your Instagram that flashed up. One is Robert Earl Keen, which is like my favorite. He's my favorite, I guess, songwriter or artist or whatever. Like for me, I was a kid when I saw him, and I go to his shows still. If he's around, I'm going to go to one. But the other one I saw was Randall King, which not a lot of people like. He's not really so mainstream or anything like that, but man, he's got some really, really good music. I was going to ask, what is one of the favorite acts you've got to host, or when they came in, you were like, oh my God, I cannot believe this person's here. Is there anybody like that?
How do I answer that? I've been booking music for 20 years. And so I ran Lukenbach, Texas for a long, long time. And so I've worked with all of these artists for a long time. And one of the things that I love about the music business is growing artists. There's a big music festival up in Colorado every January. We basically take Texas to Colorado for a week and plop ourselves down up there and have a big time. And I met Randall King up there. I do the media room with Deep Eddy Vodka for that music festival. And I met Randall King. Actually, something showed up on my Facebook feed the other day about the very first time I met Randall. And met his dad, and they were just the sweetest people. And of course, Randall was great coming out of the gate. And I knew Randall was going to be a big deal. And so I started booking Randall when, we only put 80 people in here, and we just kept going. And he's got great management. The same people that manage Cody Johnson and Roger Kreger are Randall's managers. Okay. And Randall has signed with Warner Records and all of that. And Randall's a great writer. He's got an incredible work ethic. And so Randall, we worked hard, and Randall, he sells Coupland out every time he plays here now. And we play him about 3 times a year. And Randall and I started a coffee line also during the pandemic called Hard Living Coffee. I don't think y'all got any of that.
We did not, but that was one of the questions that I was going to ask you. I saw it on the website. You had the Randall King.
I'll send y'all some
Hard Living Coffee. Yes.
Yeah. So Randall's a coffee fiend, and of course Randall's a young guy, and he was like, I just Folgers is my thing, and I was like, oh Lord, have mercy. Come here, let me help you. We've got this is like drinking Jack Daniels versus Garrison Brothers bourbon or something like that. But he's drinking Folgers, and I'm like, dude. But his family, they're truck drivers, right? That's his background, yeah. And so truck stop coffee, right? So I'm like, dude, so I called him one morning during pandemic. I guess it was back in August, and he has a song called Smoking Cigarettes, and it's about vices. And, the song, it's like, there's nobody to tell me to quit, and I can drink more coffee and smoke more cigarettes and drink more whiskey or whatever. And so I called him and I said, Randall, everybody, if you have a vice, it's just tenfold right now because of stress and craziness, and I'm like, what's going on? And he was like, it's just hard living. And I said, boom, there you go. That's it. That's the name of the coffee beans, Hard Living, right? And so we sampled a lot of coffee beans. I have a roaster here in Austin. And for my brothel house coffee, we went with a straight Mexico bean. It's really strong. And then with Randall's coffee, it's a middle of the road, and it's Ethiopian and Colombia blend. And it's fabulous, and we sell it. I ship it. Randall takes it around with him and promotes it. And whenever he makes a post about it, we always sell a lot of it. But I've been shipping it all over the country to Randall's fans, and it's really funny. Randall's like, hey, I have my own coffee. And, oh, God, we want to drink the same coffee that Randall King drinks. And so, but yeah, Randall's great. And as far as, so I had Tanya Tucker here right before the pandemic. And that was pretty cool. Tanya Tucker, hadn't played a small venue like Coupland, a dance hall, in a long, long time.
Yeah.
She plays stadiums and stuff. So that was pretty cool. And she when she got off stage, she said to me, she was like, I forgot what that felt like. And I was like, I bet, because when you're on a stadium, like you're so far away from the people, you can't see anybody's face. You definitely can't touch them or see the smile on their face or like look them in the eyes or whatever. And here, like they were at her feet, so they were singing along. She could hear them singing, and so it was really, I think she was really moved by that whole experience. And there's no bad seat in the house here at Coupland. It's a really cool setup. And so no matter how many people you have, you can still see the stage and see the people, and hear them really well. And so I don't know. I love everybody. I've played a lot of really cool people over my career, and got to grow some artists. Cody Jinks used to sit out under the trees at Lukenbach.
Oh yeah, we're huge fans.
Yeah, I got him his first gig at Green Hall and Floors, and now he's just so big. Ryan Bingham used to play for me all the time until he got too big. And Randall will fly too. I mean, I've probably got about 2 more years with Randall, and then he'll be too big for us to have him here. But that's what you do. I mean, that's the goal of if you're doing it properly. You want to invest in the artists, and you just keep looking for the next thing coming up. So. Yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
No,
or not, but.
It did. That's very cool. I was actually talking to my daughter today about coffee, and she's really into like these cold brew coffees and these French press coffee. And so I ordered her. She's 19 in college, and so I ordered her a French press coffee maker. And she's like, "Well, I need to get some coffee." And I was like. And she was like, do I get some Folgers? Do I get, what do I get? I'm like, no, don't get that. So I'm actually, we have a Pearland coffee roast. They roast theirs in-house. I said, stop by and get a thing of this. But after seeing the Randall King and yours collaboration coffee here, I'm going to order some. So thank you for that.
I'll send y'all some.
No, I'll buy it. Yeah. We're always happy to donate, right?
Well, I appreciate it. It's good. So what made y'all start a barbecue podcast?
It's just one of those things that somebody says, you drink a little bit too much, and then somebody says, hey, maybe we should. Now, we've been barbecuing a long time, and James and I are twin brothers. We're both on the podcast here. And so we're really big into competition, really big into barbecue, and fortunate enough to live close to each other, and we've got some neighbors who we got into barbecue and doing competition barbecuing, and it just kind of led. One night, one of us was like, "Hey, let's do a podcast and see what it is." And I to be honest with you, I never thought we'd have 100 of these out there, or 80 of these out there, or
right.
We've been doing this over a year, and we've steadily grown. We've had some. We really feel fortunate to really have you on. As well, but we've had some people on that we didn't think we were going to have on. Like we had Rich O'Toole. He came on the podcast, which we thought was like, why is he saying yes to this? Like, if he knew us, he would not say yes to this. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those things that's kind of grown for us. And every weekend we are doing something. We're trying to podcast about it, write something about it, or whatever. So I don't know if I it's just for us. It's just I don't know. I think my wife is probably mad that I do this now.
Well, we get together and we talk all the time. We drink. We sit around a fire. We sit around a barbecue pit, and the stories and the life experiences and all that stuff that we get to share, the camaraderie, in doing the competitions and being able to talk to interesting folks like yourself that are into barbecue or music or business,
lots of beer.
Yes, exactly. We just think it's great, and we love being able to be a part of that.
Yeah, we'd be in here talking about all this anyway. Might as well record it.
Right.
Well, that's a first. I don't want half of my conversations recorded. I know the bands like that. That's what's funny. I've always put the bands first, and that's why I get so many people that still play for me after all these years. But they love to come in the kitchen and drink coffee and eat leftovers at 1:00 in the morning after the show's over. And people don't realize that. I mean, they think the backstage is like the place to be, and the crazy parties happening, whatever. But shoot, no, they're tired. Those guys, they stay on the road all the time. They have to sleep in whatever bed is given to them at that time. And sometimes they don't even get a bed. They don't get a shower. I mean, sometimes they have to eat really bad food, and, it's just hard. And they have to be in a van with 5 or 6 other guys, for hours and hours and hours on end, every single week. And all for this little 90 minutes of high on the stage. Right. And so I get a lot of time with my bands in the kitchen, at 1:00 in the morning, just talking about life and how hard it is for them. And, they haven't seen their family or their wives in 2 weeks, and it's a hard life. It's really hard for a lot of them. It's hard on relationships. It's hard on, just everything. But they wouldn't trade it for the world, and I'm thankful that they wouldn't, because we get to put on great shows, but people don't see that out front, So I think when you're young, like the young guys, like Randall and those guys, and I'll probably Jake Worthington, and Josh Ward, and Josh is actually, he's in his 40s now. So, but I can say for sure, like Randall's band, because I spend so much time with those guys. They do a lot of video recordings and different things like that here, and so they pull out they carry a beer pong table with them.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so they're like, "We're hungry," and I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna go cook steaks, y'all, whatever." And then I'll go out to find them, and they're on the front porch with their beer pong table set up and flip flops and a cooler full of beer, and they're just in hog heaven. They until they all start getting relationships and find wives and start having babies and whatever, that's how they live, just like that.
Man, I should have been a singer.
Right. You're living the life of a singer, but you're not a singer.
That's right, I am.
Right.
I do live my life like a singer, but I'm not a singer at all. So.
Yeah, we had a few run-ins, few dealings with. So I volunteer at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo for the barbecue portion of it. So and I get to see all the acts that come out there. I mean, I'm pretty much right there next to the stage, and so we've seen Randall, Kevin, a lot of these people out there, phenomenal acts. But when it shuts down, and then all the public gets kicked out, and it's like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I have seen Kevin Fowler sitting at a barbecue pit, just sitting there shooting the shit, drinking beer with just normal me and random people. I mean, it's one of those deals. Like, I mean, I guess if you love the music and you love the business and it's what you love to do, I mean, it's something I guess a lot of people would strive to find that enjoyment.
Yep, I would totally agree.
Kevin and I met in the the junkyards. Actually, I had never hired him to play at Lukenbach. He was on their no playlist because when he first started his career, he was very cocky, and he would say things on stage that he shouldn't be saying, like the F word, over and over again.
Right.
And so Lukenbach was like, no, he cannot play here. And I'm like, dang, okay, well, whatever. And so I have a house in Round Top, and Kevin spends a lot of time over there. He loves old houses, and you probably know this all about him, but he likes old stuff. And so that's where I met Kevin, was in the junkyards, and we became junk buddies, old house buddies, and we were both actually restoring houses at the same time, and so we would use each other for leads on wood and stoves and doors and all sorts of stuff. And then finally, when I bought Coupland, the previous owners of Coupland had a falling out with Kevin. They turned all of his neon signs upside down in the dance hall. All of his pictures that are on the wall, they turned them upside down.
Wow.
Because when Kevin was at the peak of his career, he couldn't play a 700-person venue. He was too big, and he would lose money. And so most people understand these things, but the previous owners of this dance hall did not. They were like, we started your career. You owe us. You have to come back here and play for us, whatever. And Kevin was like, man, I can't. I can't. And so when I bought Coupland, the very first person that I booked was Kevin. And he was like, we turn those neons back right side up and turn my pictures right side up, and we're going to freaking sell this sucker out. And he's like, and I'm playing for the door. And I was like, yes, you are, because I'm not paying you. And so Kevin does our New Year's Eve every year now. And but here's the thing about Kevin that I love. He is a very normal person. Singing and the music, that just supplies him his fun money, his living. That's how he makes his living. But first and foremost, Kevin is a person, and he is very curious. He loves to have conversations with people about everything and anything. And he's really awesome that way. He doesn't take the fame, like he's not, oh, I'm Kevin Fowler, I'm sure there was a time that he was, but not now. He's a very cool person, very accessible. Yeah.
I love that. That's thank you for sharing that story. Hey, Abby, we're running a little bit long on this. I'm sure we can probably scale it back a little bit, but is there a website that the people can go to check out the shop as far as the jerky, the barbecue sauces, and also check because I think you have a B&B as well, right?
That's right. Yeah, you can stay there, sleep there, go to the dance hall, eat there.
Yeah.
You just trap them.
Our tagline is eat, drink, dance, and stay a little longer.
I love it.
That Bob Wills song?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, the B&B, it's only 7 rooms. It's upstairs from the dance hall, and it goes really quick. It sells out pretty much the first tickets that we sell every single show on Friday and Saturdays. And you can buy all of it, buy tickets, check out our lineup, come to the restaurant, go to the shows. It's all at CouplandDanceHall.com. It's COUPLAND, dancehall.com.
That's awesome. Hey, guys, go check out the website. Definitely check out the acts, and please buy a lot of that jerky and send some my way, please. Thank you.
Yes. Thank y'all so very much for having me, and I just appreciate the support a whole lot. And if y'all are ever this way, come by.
Definitely will.
Will do. Thank you so much, Abby.
Hey, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, great talking to you.
Bye.
Bye.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, dude, the stories. I mean, I imagine she could probably sit here for another 2 hours and just talk about
I wanted to listen for 2 hours.
Stories between all the musicians. I was writing down my piece of paper here. I was like, let me ask about this musician. Let me ask about this one, this and that. The Randall King thing. I'm a huge fan of Randall King.
I am too.
The Kevin Fowler, really didn't get into. I'm sure our boy Rich O'Toole's probably played there before.
Yeah, I like I said, I was bringing it up earlier, and we lost audio a little bit, and but yeah, having Rich O'Toole even come on the podcast, I was like, and we're having her on the podcast. I mean, I'm sure they know each other and whatever, but very very cool person. I love how she's driven. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing about like, well, the guy didn't show up, and I've got to do this, and. She seemed like to be a hands-on person anyways, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like once she takes it on, she's like, she's not giving it back up. She's like, no, we're not hiring another person. I'm doing it now. Sorry.
Well, the whole comment about the beach. I mean,
yeah. Hey, I can walk around this dance hall, or I can go walk a beach. Right now, they're both making me the same thing. I mean, I'm whatever, and then go in there and then come back. Hey, let's bottle some sauce. Let's make some beef jerky as a taster for the barbecue sauce. Not even trying to sell the beef jerky, and that comes out to be a seller. Very cool. I really liked her vibe, and she seemed very just. You know what it seemed like, and I'm just jealous now. It seems like she is doing exactly what she loves to do for a living, right? I just want to do that. I don't know what that is. My other problem is I don't know what that is.
Right.
So,
Jan, do you want to open a dance hall?
I do want to open a dance hall.
Do you want to stay up till 2 a.m. drinking, listening to the best country music, eating ribeye steaks? Nah.
Abbey Road is living my life right now.
Really quick before we leave, what would be your first act that you had to play live
that I booked?
That you booked at Jan's? We'll say Coupland Dance Hall is already booked.
Yep.
Who are you booking?
The one I would book over all of them.
Yes.
I gotta go with the king, man. George Strait.
Okay.
That's who you book. That's who I would book.
But who you can get.
That's not who I can. If who I could get anybody in the world.
Exactly.
I would book them. I'd book him first.
What about you, Alvin? Who are you booking?
I was like, I'm booking myself.
Yeah. Alan's booking Def Leppard.
Yeah, I am. I am booking Def Leppard. There's no doubt about that.
And he actually has a playlist for him. Nope, you're playing these songs in order. No breaks.
No deviations.
Right. Yeah.
And you're finishing with this song.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What about you, Matt?
Oh, God. I don't know.
On the spot.
I'd be honest. I don't
know
any country music.
Any music genre. It's your dance hall.
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Iron Maiden. Okay.
For sure.
But if I was going to have to do country, I know who I would book first. Probably Brooks and Dunn. I like those guys a lot.
Yeah. They split up.
But they have to come together. Yeah. That means I get two guys. And I can get them for two separate shows. And then they do two. And then I see it. And
I don't know
doubled
if
up.
I don't know if it works that way.
Oh, damn it.
I'm probably bringing in a little Boys to Men. I'm probably bringing a little that.
You're going to bring the little Boys to Men?
Did I say little boys?
Yeah.
I did say a little Boys to Men.
I don't know. The Boys to Men, but not little Boys to Men. Look,
that might be an act out somewhere.
Yeah, I don't want to see it. Okay, if it is, I think that I like the old dance hall town. We grew up in a small town, right? 600 people, 600 plus, right? I really feel like Coupland is one of those towns as well.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that you're traveling. It's surrounded by a lot of other cities. Bastrop's close and whatever. Very cool. I definitely want to go. I'm going to go and book. I'm going to go look with their lineup. I'm going to go book a room, stay the night, go just get shit-faced drunk. Yeah, it's going to happen.
And stay there.
Stay there, yeah.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. I think we have a road trip in our future. So the people, I like how I just stuttered there.
Mm-hmm.
The people.
So guys, go check out CouplandDancehall.com. Check out the shop. They have the jerky, the sauces, the B&B, the dance hall. Go check it out for yourselves. We're definitely going to check it out ourselves, probably in our near future. So, hey, we appreciate the support, and we thank you.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. We've been great.
Dang it, Bobby. Just grab the brisket. All right, we would like to give a special thanks to FOGO Premium Hardwood Lump Charcoal, Bolner's Fiesta Spices, CoolieNation Custom Koozies, Cambro Manufacturing, Yeti Cooler, the Smoke Sheep Barbecue Newsletter, and Texas Brew Hopper. We appreciate their support. Y'all guys go check them out.